I made $1 million in 3 months.
Yeah.
Then I did this, I sell this fucking shit online, and then okay, here's a 30-minute video about how I'm so successful and I was lucky.
Should a fresh grad expect to be paid $10,000 a month for their starting salary?
Mad.
This is your daily Ketchup.
Bounce, bounce. Alright, and today we have the hostess with the newest. Okay, we have Jared.
So there was
Wait,
this...
sorry. Denise, do you have any tips for him before he opens this article?
Now you made it all awkward.
I have to.
Yeah.
It's my job.
Read the article headline properly.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
That's usually where I stumble, the first line.
Okay, so recently there was this YouTube video, right, by a Hong Kong-based YouTuber. His name is Taurus Pitt. And this video, he just...
He doesn't sound Hong Kong based at all.
he's not a local.
Got you.
Okay.
Yeah. So what he did is he visited NUS and he just kind of did a tour. Lah. He did interview some of the students there. And one of the questions he asked was, what do you think your starting salary is? So one thing that went quite viral over the past few days is that this year 1 business administration student, she said that her starting salary, she hopes, is $10,000.
Wait, sorry, I clarify. She's double major, business administration and finance.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So she's majoring in finance, double major in economics.
No difference.
What is business administration exactly?
How to run business.
It's like MBA. MBA is Masters of Business Administration. A name that people just put so that you learn basic business stuff.
Which is?
I really don't know. I did business degree also.
So, it's a general business degree, like business administration.
I think we can look it up. Because I feel like, okay,
The
while you're looking it up, I'll just explain my experience in business school.
Okay, let's go.
So I did a degree, I got bachelor's in business, obviously, but I did finance, I did marketing as my double major. But there were also other options like management, econometrics, economics, and then business administration. And that was the one that no one touched because it's like, that's so vague and ambiguous.
Okay.
So enlighten us.
Don't stress. You got this.
Okay, so upon successful completion of this program, you will gain a broad foundation of knowledge essential in the industry.
It is basically
That tells
a
me nothing.
general business degree.
Yeah, but
lah.
they say it helps to prepare students, right, for managerial roles in companies. So business
yes.
admin.
I feel like every
So, like,
course will say that.
Usually when people have to enter C-suite, right, in an MNC, they do need to have an MBA, which is a Master's in Business Administration.
C-suite is a hotel room. Is what?
It's like CEO, COO, C rank.
All the CTO.
You're not there yet. That's
All
why
the
you don't know.
So then, when you're a business student, right?
Oh, yes, hi.
So, do you think
on
that
my
this,
regalia.
considering what she's studying,
Yeah.
do you think that 10K is...
Completely unrealistic.
No, for real.
I think if you really have a finance degree and you become, like, say, a trader, there are some firms that are willing to pay you maybe close to like 8-9K for entry level.
Right.
Definitely have heard of that. Or if I think you join consultancy, maybe not while you are doing management traineeship, but after you get out of that 6-month program, there is a possibility of getting high 7s, high 8s. So I think 10K is not completely whack or like out of reach, but these are like, you have to be the best of the best of the best and go to the best of the best
Actually,
companies.
I was a bit surprised, right, that she was getting hit. Because in my mind, like, I know of friends that go and intern, right, because they study finance, then they go and intern in like these big companies, say like JP Morgan or what, and their intern pay is like 4-5K. So then to me, right, it sounded completely realistic. She got the finance part, right? So then, like, how come cannot?
If you
As
join
full-time.
IB, like investment banking, it is definitely possible.
Yeah, so I was very surprised that she was like getting all this hate.
Okay, so I think she actually...
Clarified.
No, not clarified, but she expected that by saying 10K, she would get some hate.
Right,
so
right,
she did a very big disclaimer
Yeah.
of like, okay, there's a difference between expect and hope.
Right.
I hope
Expectations. Like.
I get 10K.
Right.
Yeah. But people still share on her, lah. So,
No, it's because of the thumbnail.
yeah.
No, but how do you feel like when you hear that somebody in the world, doesn't matter what her degree is, but somebody in the world thinks that she's going to earn $10,000 as
Okay.
her first job?
I think hearing that she expects it, I don't care because I'm too ignorant to understand her world and her industry to know whether that's realistic or not. But where I feel a tinge of jealousy, and I don't know if it's a me problem, right? But it's like when I hear somebody like, I made $1 million in 3 months.
Yeah.
Then I did this, I sell this fucking shit online, and then okay, here's a 30-minute video about I was so successful and I was lucky, that kind of thing, right?
But then if you want to know how.
Yeah, they don't tell her how to do it.
Yeah.
They try to tell her how to do it, but they don't tell her how to do it. They're like, ugh,
No, but you can buy their course if you want to buy.
Yeah. And that's how they made their $1 million.
But for those that have been to uni, have you been to uni?
Yes.
Yeah. So like, is there a big disparity between what you expected or thought would be your starting pay and the actual?
when I in uni, right, I don't even know what the is starting pay is. I'm just thinking like, do I need to wear formal every day? And then like what will I do?
Yeah.
That's
Right,
it.
right.
I never really think about the pay.
What was your degree in?
Very
Comms.
embarrassing.
Comms.
Why?
Comms and PR.
Okay, what?
What you mean by okay what?
Quite respectable. You know, you say like embarrassing.
I feel like I didn't learn anything.
Right.
You don't
yeah.
actually learn anything in.
You could have learned from YouTube lah.
It's just
Agree.
paying for the paper lor.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, cool.
I feel like for me, like I didn't have a sense until I did my first internships. Then that's when you finally get a sense of like, okay, if I'm earning this as an intern, then if I'm a full-timer, there's really only so much you can go. And then I became a little bit more realistic. And I think in most job portals also, sometimes they'll give you some expectations. My career future. So unlike like LinkedIn or all the other platforms, right, you have to put a salary expectation if you are
like
job
if you're posting
advertiser.
it,
Yes.
right.
Okay.
So then that will give you a rough range. So like I remember seeing that site and then identifying what the range is for like this kind of jobs.
Yeah, but then that's my frustration, right? Because when I first started looking for jobs, right, I was reading all the job descriptions. I don't know what the it's saying.
Yeah.
Like all the requirements, all the description, I'm like, so what am I doing? Why all same? Then why, right? This one, right, the job description and this one, right, the skills required all same, but one pay like 3K, one pay like 8, 9K. Then I'm damn confused. Then what? Then I go for the 8, 9K one, you know what I mean?
Do you get into the 8-9K one?
No.
He's here. As you can see.
So actually going on Dan's point of like having a list of starting salaries that you can kind of base off on. There's actually a MOE graduate employment survey. So this is kind of like the average salary of people in your field. And according to the 2021 one, the university degree with the highest average gross monthly salary is... Hold up! How much do you expect for your starting salary? Comment that in the comments below and don't forget to like, share, subscribe. First time.
He's becoming like Anchorman.
Episode.
You're Ron Burgundy there.
IT.
Yeah. Business and computer engineering and computing from NTU.
Double degree.
Double degree.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that's $6,578.
No, you know what? Like when I was growing up, right? Like salary is not something that people really openly discuss anyway.
Yeah.
So because of that, right, it wasn't something that I thought I needed to navigate as well. How do you all get that? Like, did you have somebody in your life, like a mentor, or like is it your parents or somebody that kind of like guide you through this, or how did you learn?
Wow, for me it was really like, I think that's why my starting pay was so low, because like, I didn't like do enough research. So like, again, I had a degree in marketing and finance. Had I pursued down the finance track, right, I probably could have had, and we'll just be fully transparent here, my starting pay could have been maybe 4 or 5K. But because I went down the marketing route, I wanted to take the road less travel and whatever, right, I decided to join PR, I decided to join like marketing and all this. And so my intern pay was not bad. My intern pay was 1.5.
What?
But then my first job pay, right, so I had 2
1.2.
offers. My 2 offers was between 2.9 or 2.4
Right.
as my starting pay. And then this was during the same time where I had all my other friends also looking for jobs. And when I was hearing the starting pay was like 3.5, 4.2, I was like, the is going on sia? And this was like in consultancy and all that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay lah. In the end, I joined the 2.4 one, the lower one. But because startup, right, the rank sounds nicer. Straight away joined manager already.
Yeah.
Then yeah lor. But what I realized was that when your starting pay is low, it's very hard, because when you move companies, they will give you a max increment of 20%. And so when you start so low, right, you have to like jump so many ships, right? Or you have to be really, really good at your job to get those increments to a point where you're happy by like year 5 of working or something like that.
Yeah, but isn't it also the case where if you have a skill set that can transcend like industries, right, then going for the industries that are currently booming would then allow you to garner a much bigger pay just because they have the budget for it, right?
Yeah, but it's a bit difficult when it's very specific. So like, say for example, the booming market like that came out maybe in the last 5 years was maybe like say tech or like coding or developing. Those are very like specific skills.
But you do marketing for the tech company.
Yeah, but even then, the pay that they were paid, the
marketer.
the developers are different from like the marketing team
Right.
also. And then if you do want to like join as a developer, they would want to hire someone that has 5 years experience in developing. When you've
Right.
wasted your last 5 years doing marketing,
Right.
then it's like you're already kind of stuck in that.
Because I know people who have like 3x their salary just by jumping to a different industry,
Yeah.
doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
So then in my head, I always, like even now also I think to myself, right, like if I really wanted money, I just go to those industries
Yeah.
and do whatever I know how to do. Because they are also looking for this type of skill sets, right?
Yeah.
Whatever they may be. Then if you want money, just go there.
Yeah.
But if you are happy where you are or you want to pursue something else, then there is that trade-off lah.
Yeah.
It's so difficult, right? Because the importance of starting pay is so arbitrary. Because like, I mean, on one hand, as you mentioned, the increment, if you start low, you are going to miss out on that. But then pretty much, I would say everybody has a very bad sense of what your starting pay is. And then at that point, you got imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And then like, you don't know, you undersell yourself and
Yeah.
all that also. So you tend to start lower also.
Yeah.
That, as in which I felt like was what happened to me also. So because I don't have a degree, so that alone, right, I straight away cut myself by like a big margin, I felt lah. And then like when my previous employer wanted to offer me a job, I was like, wow, people want me, even though I only got A-levels. Then straight away, like whatever he say, right, I like, oh, okay.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you so much. Then at the same time, he also told me, oh, look at this person, right, in the company. Like, that person is so established now, right? When they started, this was their pay. Then I'm like, wow, I know degree, but we same. Or we very similar. Then I'm like, good deal, give it to me. 2.3K. Then
Yeah.
similarly, like when I changed jobs, then like that's when I realized the increment like
Affects lah.
is
Yeah.
affected.
I find it very interesting that because for me personally, I've never. Okay, there are two things, right? So the first one is that I've always been the one to like, if I feel I deserve a certain amount, I'll ask for it.
We are so brave.
And then I will do two things, right? Because to me, if you pay me a certain amount, obviously there's a negotiation involved. Sometimes it will require you to take on more things and whatnot, right? That kind of forces me to step up and take on those positions also. And it has helped me in terms of my personal growth and climbing within the companies that I've worked with. But the companies that I've worked with all are small, like startups, SMEs lah. On the other hand, right, I also think that your starting pay and that amount of increment you're talking about, right, I've never cared about it. I've always looked at where can I offer and what value do I bring, and let me justify how much I'm asking for. Like, I honestly think, right, 20K, right, no problem if you know which company you're going to and what you have to offer them. But then after that comes the challenging part lah, which I feel is fine, which is that 6 months, let me prove to you that this is the true value that I bring and that is worth this amount. Then if I cannot, then this is the
Fire.
gamble that we're both taking, ma.
Right.
Yeah, like I'd rather play that game than to just settle with like, oh, I got 20K here, 20% here, 20% here, that kind of thing. But that 20K doesn't mean that I could be doing exactly the same thing in a different company, earning like less than half of that also. Yeah. So it's that choice also, whether you want to go there and do that thing. Yeah.
I think you gotta be clever with your target like companies, I guess. It's like similar to like choosing schools. The only problem is that can you stand out and like, are you gonna waste? Because you might waste time targeting all these companies also. Like you could go apply to like Facebook, Netflix, and all of this, and then realize that you are competing with a massive pool of people, as compared to going to a startup or SME where you might have the chance to work directly with the founders or the CEOs and prove yourself, and then make your way up to that level lah, like that high level of salary. But it's gonna take time maybe.
In a day job and a salaried job, right? Sure, that covers your basic needs, your housing, all basic bills and all that shit, right? But everybody will talk about how from 9 to 5, that's where you cover your basic, and then from 6 to 12, that's where you make your money.
Yeah.
Like your side hustle, your trading, your freelance, your whatever the Then I keep thinking about these things, right? And then I wonder, like, how am I using my 6 to 12? And then whether should it be money focused? Or do I want to spend that time focusing on so many other aspects of my life? And then how do you then carve out time for family, for friends, for relationships, for your other hobbies, your other activities? Is that... I don't know. questioning that, but at the same time understand that it's a sacrifice that needs to be made if I want that wow money.
Yeah, but then you see, right, like, do you feel jealous that you didn't go for an industry that just pays you 10K to begin with, then you don't even need that side hustle after work, you know? It's like you already make that
But
money.
you still do. 10K is enough, man.
No, but
It's
then-
a first job though.
but then
compared to
job
like
satisfaction,
2K, 3K.
Like, what if I do a 10K job, but then I hate going to work every day, and that takes up
Yeah,
the
yeah.
bulk of my day?
So what I would say is that when I first joined like the workforce, right, and thought money is not important, I want to pursue passion, and so I went for low pay. And then now, right, I think if I could redo it all over again, right, I would redo the other
would
route.
choose
and
the pay.
I would choose the pay.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I do feel that the slog, right, or the grind, right, will last for what, maybe 5 years, 7 years, 10 years max. But those are your youth years, like
Yeah.
where you have the energy.
To
And then
grind.
exactly. And then once you make it already, right, and either start out your own firm or become a manager or whatever, it really becomes less grindy.
If you had to choose starting pay, higher option, but maybe not so enjoyable experience in terms of
Yeah.
work versus lower pay, but wow, passion. Every day, my friends, I work with my friends. You will choose the higher pay.
I'll choose the money any day now.
I counterpoint that because I've literally lived through it. So I quit my job. I quit my job here. Oh, all my friends and all that kind of stuff. I love this place, and then I quit, hoping to find. I mean, a higher salary was one of the reasons why I did have a higher pay. It was civil service, so the runway for that is, hey, it's pretty comfortable.
Yeah,
You
it's
know what?
comfortable,
Like,
yeah.
you don't. If I just carry on, right, I don't have to worry about my finances for the rest of my life.
Yeah, set for life.
But I did it for 1.5 years. And not saying I hate the job. I'm not saying that I hated my job. But it just didn't feel like a right fit.
The money wasn't
The
enough.
money,
to
I
paper
knew
over.
that if I just continued, everything would be settled. But something just kept eating at me.
Yeah.
And like, you know where you belong.
This
No, but do you
guy.
not think that it would have been different, right? If you knew in your mind that, okay, this is a 3-year time period, let me go and slog my guts out here, get that comfortable margin before going back, like Dan said.
So
to
going
go
on
and
Dan's
pursue.
point, right? He
Yeah.
said like, the young years where you get to be stupid and make little money is where you are your most energetic, your most
You have the most to
energy.
give. To
You have the
this.
most to give.
Yeah.
That's also the years that you want to enjoy, right? Not that slog myself into an office where I just drag myself there every day and like.
No, but the
just doing it
reality
for money.
was that I did join a startup. I was getting shit pay, and I was working until 12 a.m. and 1 a.m. still. So I was
Oh,
still
that's
not
you.
having a life.
So don't get exploited.
Basically.
I think I've mentioned in another episode that there is that happy pay that they did a survey for.
Yeah.
And if I'm not wrong, it's about 7K or 8K Sing.
The minimum amount that you feel like you are satisfied.
Something that I always ask myself is I wonder if like, because now I'm not there yet, but I wonder when I get there, right, am I really going to feel this? Or am I, like, I'm a bit plagued by the thought of like, am I constantly going to feel like it's not enough?
Right.
Yeah. So
I think that, right, is because there are a lot of people who successfully earn a lot of money, but the problem is that as you earn more money, a lot of people have a tendency to, especially if they're not financially literate or even understand the basics, they start to spend more. Their lifestyle gets more
yeah.
expensive, which then ties them up and they get stuck there. But they don't have savings. They are not building that wealth for something else or building something to help them to earn like more passively, for example.
I actually just saw like a tweet about that. Like literally I sent to you all this afternoon. It's breaking news according to this Twitter account. More than 50% of all 6-figure earners have said that they are living paycheck to paycheck.
Wow.
As per a survey done by CNBC.
6-figure, Kimak.
Yeah, so
A
they're
year lah,
earning
a year.
6 figures, and like half of these people, actually more than half of these people who are earning this amount, right,
Yeah.
are not being able to control their spending. And
Yeah.
like you said, like
Or maybe they're geniuses and it's all tied up in assets and investments.
So a frugal person who is earning less can have a more meaningful life compared to the guy who's earning more but is just blowing it all.
Not really. You could also still be like
You
living
could be
paycheck to
rich
paycheck. Like you're living paycheck to paycheck
Okay.
is different. One is that you're in a single room house with not enough food, and the other one is that you're living lavishly, but you do need the
yeah,
next
it's like,
paycheck
are you
to pay for
crying your
next-
Lambo or not?
Yeah. Like, okay, I will say this though, that even though I would like have joined, if I could redo everything, I would have gone for the higher pay. I am kind of at that level of content. I won't reveal my pay lah. Like, but there was a slightly lower number
I do
than
the
that.
math.
There was a slightly lower number than the 7-8K that Denise mentioned. That once I surpassed that, I was happy. And like I felt that I was no longer actually chasing races, and I realized, thinking about it now, right, I no longer had the meetings where I'm looking for a race, like what can I do? Like I no longer had that already because I was quite content. And
Oh, walao,
Yeah.
you keep making me more curious to know what's the number.
it's not very
Annoying,
high.
sia.
I
But
bet it's a 6+.
I felt that the my needs were met lah. There were a lot of different things, and yes, I did increase my spending a bit, but there's nothing that I feel is missing.
This is
in my
excluding
life.
your side hustles.
Yes.
Yeah, so that means this is enough for you to save, invest, spend, and enjoy, and not
Yeah.
have to think too much about money.
I mean,
and
I could-
justify the work that you put in.
I could have a bit more for savings. The problem is that because
I mean, you can always have a bit more, right?
no, but it's like I'm almost saving nothing because my standing instructions right in my bank is that once the salary comes in, money starts going out to investments already.
Yeah.
So then it's like, oh shit, sometimes I don't have enough to like even buy like new shoes or whatever.
There was this thing about how
What a first world
No,
problem.
there was this thing about how when your salary comes in, the first thing you should pay is yourself.
Oh, I thought you were going to say your mother.
Yeah, that was-
And then after that, then you settle your bills, your investments, your savings, everything else, right? Because when you think about that first, then now you will try to adjust and make sure that your salary is enough to cover everything else. But you need to pay yourself first.
Love that.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by yourself?
So you're spending on yourself, the things that
The wants, not the
Your
not the
wants over
needs.
your needs?
no,
That sounds a bit scary.
it's your needs over your wants. So how much does it cost for you to survive? I mean, not say survive, but how much does it cost for you to live? Right? Like that should come first. If it's the other way around and you're paying for all your bills and all this kind of shit, right? Then what you're doing is that you're just spending on things that like it's like a consumerist mindset. You are selling yourself to everything else. You are allowing yourself to go and pay for your clothing, pay for your traveling, paying for your entertainment and all this other shit first, and then the remainder is for yourself. But the mindset should be the other way around.
I think you have a very different concept of what bills are.
Yeah, I need to pay for my
Yeah.
electricity, you know. It's kind of a need.
Yeah.
No, it's a want. Wait, it's a need. Yeah.
I was gonna say I thought it would be the other way around because people will pay for bills first. So like those are things that they need,
Yeah.
like water
Then
or
whatever you
electricity,
have
and then
left.
whatever you have left, then you only spend on the one. So you don't really live that much. But if you pay yourself first, means you're setting
Maybe I
yourself.
remembered it wrong.
Yeah, maybe,
that's why
maybe.
something sounds a bit off.
Maybe to round off the conversation, right? Because it goes back to salary, right? How do you all think you all can increase your salary? Like, what are things you all actively do to increase your salary? Like to justify those increments or to max out those increments? Because I know there are people who sit there and just like, I expect an increment every year as long as I do what the bare minimum lah.
Yeah.
But for the people who are trying to really like push that bar, right? What are some things you think like they can do?
I think it's having very clear-cut conversations. Like if that's something on your mind, then I think bring it up to either your supervisor, your boss, or whoever can make that decision and go, hey, look, like I do have certain life goals, I do have certain timelines for these things, and obviously to make it worthwhile because your boss or supervisor is caring about the business goals of the company, not necessarily like your growth is important, but that's a secondary goal. So then, if that's the case, what can I do that helps the company in order for me to then deserve a raise, So like if I'm in a sales position or an accounts position or even like in content position or whatever it is, then it's like how can I deliver value to the company that then results in me getting a raise, and then come up with that proper like maybe structure or KPI, or it's like hitting certain goals or milestones by 6 months or by a year, and then okay, you deserve this. So I feel like having those conversations, opening up, you might not have all the answers. You might just start off as a conversation as to what can I do more to deliver value, and then it's maybe a series of conversations to get there. I feel that's the most realistic lah, as opposed to just saying I want to raise.
Yeah.
I've been doing good work.
I think in general, I mean, like at least for me on a more personal level, it feels like broadening my scope of what I am thinking about when it comes to my work. So say for example, when I just come into the company, what I'm thinking about is, okay, how do I, in my role specifically, for example, how do I make a good video? Right, I just make that one video good and then that's it. But then as I broaden my scope to think of, okay, how can I turn this into a series? How can I turn this into a series that can sell? Then after that, broaden again and looking at, okay, how am I looking at certain processes in the company, right? And thinking about that and how to improve that.
Yeah.
Then I think as your thinking kind of broadens, right? Then that like your pay will like go with that because you are thinking beyond your job scope, and as Dan mentioned, like thinking for the company's goals also.
I don't think so. I think anybody can do that. I think
disagree so hard.
I think I think anybody can take on certain things and put them on their plate. But whether you are getting paid for it or not is a separate thing.
Yeah.
So it's the ability to either prove and justify the salary increment, or show that you want me to do something, or there's a hole here that I can fill, pay me, increase that one, and then I will take on that task.
I think the difference is that one is more active and one's more passive. And the active one kind of guarantees that, because if I hit it, then it will happen. So the conversation happens maybe 6 months before. You have 6 months to hit it, and then 6 months you hit it, then the raise comes into effect. Whereas the passive one is like, it might be obvious, but if it's not obvious, then you will feel like the company let you down.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Or you feel underpaid because you're taking it on and then you're not being like remunerated for it.
Yeah, there's that. But I do think that being able to, and especially about having a growth track, right? Because if you have a very clear growth track to your manager or whatnot, then it's very clear to say, okay, this person will eventually, like as a manager, my role is to groom, wow, that's a bad word, but to like
No, it's not.
ensure
people
that my
grow.
team can eventually take over me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's the goal here, right?
Yep.
And I can only do that if they have provided evidence of rising through that growth track. And to me, what that looks like is that when you first join from entry level to my spot, right, it's about moving from working to thinking. And I think that's where processes comes in,
Yeah.
being able to see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
I think it's more about, and I know it's really like lame and political and what, but it's the optics of it, being able to show that you're doing that work.
Yep.
And if it's something that you did before and you want to have that conversation retrospectively, you can still have that and say, look, this is all the stuff that I've been doing that is way beyond my job scope. And now I feel like I deserve something. What more can I do? Then I feel that that's how you can start that conversation also.
Right.
So the conclusion is
Talk to your
talk to your
boss.
boss.
Yeah, I think talking to your boss and getting them to tell you what you can do is that like.
But so
because,
many people also find that conversation scary or difficult to approach.
which is why I wanted to bring up like how a lot of the skills that you can acquire to get yourself up, right, is actually social skills more than anything. Learning how to manage people both below and above, learning how to socialize, learning how to network, right? These 3 skills alone, right, can like minimum 2x your pay.
100%. Yeah, no, I think
Really,
like,
really.
something that you brought is so important is that people can manage downward, but they struggle to manage upwards.
Yeah.
And it's such an important skill to
All
have.
people skills people skills. So important.
So thank you for watching today's episode. Hope you have a bit of a better idea on how to maybe improve your worth. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe.
Probably not, yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you at the next episode where Denise will host more.
This all
Bye-bye.
goes to the bloopers where you use the first thing.
What?
Oh my god, it's Jared's first daily Ketchup intro!
Okay, what's the order? Should a fresh grad... So thank you for watching. Do you want Denise back as your host? This is your Daily Ketchup.